What is up, YouTube, my elite nobles, fellow soul reapers? You already know what it is. We live action. It is the TheEliteace. As you can see, I am back. Now, this will, wrap it up. As you can see, this is a 2-in-1 video request. The reason why I combined two of them, because if you look back in the archives, I stated that I was in the process of moving, so get all your video requests in while you can. Now, when I did that, it's like I just sent out a sonar beacon where my inbox and personal messages blew up with video requests, and that's cool. I like that, because I appreciate that. It shows me you care what I have to say about certain things. Now, the two is from iiFemLee and Kidswade. There was someone else who sent me one recently, but it accidentally got erased, so I apologize. If you know who you are, just send it again, because damn my memory. But yeah, so without further ado, I am back. Get used to this jacket and hat. Get used to it, Get used to the new Zampato. Get used to the hat and the jacket. Get used to the background, So, let's get this started. I'm going to do this in order. There's only two of them, so don't worry. I'm trying to wrap this up as fast as I can, because now that everything is settled now, the whole video request arc is over. So this is the last chapter of the video request arc. Okay, from iiFemLee, he writes, this was a while ago, so iiFemLee, I apologize. And I apologize to all people who I've had waiting. It said, okay, in my last request, I liked a lot what you said, like about your Chiru possibly having a huge axe or Shikai. But I want some more stuff. First off, you said Toshiro's Bunkai has been completed, but it was stated in the interview with Kubo that it wasn't. And something was unexpected was coming of Toshiro's Bunkai. Also, I would also like to hear more about Kira's Bunkai. What could it possibly be? Because you don't know, and Kubo stated that he might not reveal it because it's too disgusting. Now what do you think it could be? Also about Shunsui and Ukataki's Bunkai. People are speculating that they will have element powers like Yamamoto because they were the first captains. Last but not least, I'd like to hear your opinion on Tsukishima. With his powers to actually change the past or something, like he did to the ground to hurt Byakuya, why didn't he just do it so Byakuya's sword lost his powers? Okay. I'll wrap this up as quick as I can. Now, I don't remember everything I said word for word in your first video request, but as far as Kubo stating that Kira's Bunkai could be disgusting, your guess is as good as mine, because when you have a Shikai and then you have to do a Bunkai of that Shikai, it's no telling what it can be. In some cases, it can be an amped up version of the Shikai, like Byakuya's Bunkai. Or it could be like, it can be something completely different, like Soy Phone's. I mean, hers is, her Shikai, we know what it is. Sting all enemies to death, Suzumabachi. 1-2, same spot, you're dead. Then her Bunkai, it's a big ass missile, so it could be off. But when he says something disgusting, I don't know if he means gory disgusting or something perverted disgusting, but probably gory, since he can, whatever he cuts, the weight, doubles, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, like that. Maybe it affects your insides when he cuts you. It affects your insides, and your insides get so heavy they rip out of you and fall on the floor or something. I don't know. That's the only thing I can think. That'd be cool though. That'd be deadly. I would like that. What else? So Shiro's Bunkai, I'm pretty sure it's complete. If it's not complete, it's drastically upgraded where he doesn't have a time limit. Or if he does have a time limit, it's extended. Now, as far as Shunsui and Ukataki having element abilities, it's funny you say that. That's been a long rumor for years, ever since I got into Bleach. And I've seen pictures of, Ukataki. One someone drew, you probably seen it before, where he's over the sea and the ocean. The water is coming up. He's standing over the water with both his Zanpakuto eyes and Shikai, and he's summoning lightning. Lightning is hitting his Zanpakuto, and I've seen other pictures where he had lightning and thunder capabilities. And then Shunsui, they say he has wind. Now it's funny on Bleach Shattered Blade, Shunsui, he has a lot of wind attacks. Yes, he has a wind technique he did on Stark, but his main element, you know, they represent it a lot in these games and pictures. I see fan-made pictures that it's wind. Some will say it makes sense. Yamamoto is fire, you know, Shunsui wind, Ukitake lightning, but I don't know, but just because they're the first captains, I don't really think that has anything to do with them having elemental powers, you know, abilities. If they do, it's probably gonna, if they have any elemental type Zanpakuto, I think it would have been stated or known by now, but we don't know because we don't completely know because we haven't seen their Bunkais. So maybe their Bunkais will, you know, display elemental capabilities. Now, Tsukishima, he's one of my favorite Fullbringers. Actually, I only like 2 Fullbringers, really. 2 Fullbringers. Well, technically Chad's a Fullbringer. He's cool, but as far as an execution, Tsukishima and Genjo. Let's see. Okay, you want to know why didn't he just make it so Byakuya's sword lost its power? Now, this is what it says with his power. It's called Insert Presence. Book of the End splits the past. It is possible because Book of the End doesn't manipulate time and memories, but it rather has the power to insert Tsukishima's very presence into a person's past upon cutting them. So, even though he cut Zenbon Sakura, you know, one of the petals, he inserted himself in the past to where he was Zenbon Sakura teaching Byakuya, so he had access to all the techniques, memories, and training sessions that Byakuya and Zenbon Sakura had. But going in someone's past, he couldn't, you know, he could just insert, like replay. He can't really fully make him lose the power, like, because that's something, you know, going against all Bleach logic and Bleach physics for Tsukishima to do something like that. Something like that for a Fullbringer to do, he would be highly, highly deadly. And if that's the case, he would have done it to so many Soul Reapers. You know, so it's like he just tamper with your memories or something. It's like, you know, he can't, I guess he can do an object, go back in time and meddle with something. But as far as something living, an entity as a human or a Zanpakuto spirit or whatever the case may be, you know, I don't think he can just go in the past and just get rid of Byakuya's powers like that. I know it may sound a little bit confusing, but it technically doesn't work like that. So Tsukishima, he is deadly. I mean, he's not super awesomely strong, but one swipe and your enemy, like, you know, he's your ally, he's your friend, he thinks you're a family member. That's pretty deadly. He can just do it to your friends, your family, etc., etc. So he can do it to just people all around him. But hey, it did state it for all of you who didn't know. Yes, Tsukishima is dead. You know, and people will wonder, was he dead? Because he was seen getting carried on Mohawk's back. Now, this is the thing. It was stated that when Ichigo's friends and family get turned back to normal, that's how you know he's dead. And it says right here, it is implied that he did die sometimes after, he did die sometime after his wounds. As Ichigo mentions to old man Yamamoto that his family and friends are back to normal. And I mean, he should have been died a long time ago. I mean, what Byakuya did to him, a hole in his chest, he shouldn't have been standing, breathing, or anything. I guess maybe because he has hollow powers, that was the only reason, but that a wound right there, there's no coming back from that. So it only makes sense that he's dead. You know, and I'm glad he's dead, because being alive after something like that, and at the end of the day, they're still humans. Yes, they're hollow powers, but they're still human. So, I'm sorry for the wait, iiFemLee. I hope that that answered some of your questions, or satisfied you for your video request. But on to Kidswade. He writes, "Hey bro, could you do a video on Final Fantasy? Like, have a discussion on it. If you like it or ever played it, which was your favorite game of the series, or if you want to start playing it. Much appreciated, bro. Keep up the vids." Thanks for that. Yes, Final Fantasy. I do like Final Fantasy. I love RPGs. I love strategy RPGs, regular RPGs, action RPGs, the massive multiplayer online. You know, the MMOs. Nah. Okay. Everyone knows, you know, Final Fantasy VII. They say, you know, it's the greatest Final Fantasy. It's my favorite. I can't argue or debate that it's not the greatest Final Fantasy. I mean, it's, you know, it's the best story, the best lineup of characters. You know, and it is the most popular Final Fantasy. It is. Is it my favorite? It's one of my favorites. The reason why it's not my favorite is because of you know, what's the reason? What's the word? For example, I asked people why is Final Fantasy VII their favorites, and a lot of people told me. I've done this research on many forum sites, asked other people at you know, local game tournaments I went to, and they say it was their first Final Fantasy. They say, oh, it's my first Final Fantasy. You know, it was real long. You know, all the, you know, multiple discs long. You know, got into the story. I'm like, okay, that wasn't my first Final Fantasy. My very first Final Fantasy was right here. Final Fantasy X. Now, as you can see, it says greatest hits, but eventually I had it, then traded it in. I beat it and everything. I don't believe I got rid of it, but I beat it. And then I got it back when I said PlayStation hits. Then, of course, Final Fantasy X2. Now, with Final Fantasy X2. Now, before I get to this, let me stick back on track with Final Fantasy X. This was my official first Final Fantasy. I've played 7. Yeah, I played it. I've seen 8. I've seen 9. Couldn't get into 9. No. And 10, I mean, it's just like, damn. This was like the first next gen Final Fantasy, and it blew me away. When this came out, now I feel old thinking about it. When this came out, I was bagging groceries at my local supermarket. I remember I went to the mall to buy this in Capcom vs. SNK Part 2. I bought the strategy out with this and everything. And this was the first Final Fantasy with voiceovers and, you know, all this good motion caption, and it blew me away. And as you can see, everything's still intact. The manual mint condition. You know, I have to have the instruction manual with my games. But Titus or Titus, notice they never said his name in the game. Never. But he, you know, he was self-taught. He was one of those kind of characters where when it started out, you know, he was, you know, whiny. His dad said he cried a lot, whatnot. But as time went on, you know, through the series, like right now where he stands, thinking, what was that, Final Fantasy Dissidia, that Final Fantasy fighting game, you know, that's the best Titus or Titus out there. You know, I got everybody's secret weapons. I liked it because it went back to the core of traditional turn-based RPG. It was, it reminded me of Final Fantasy 8, 7, as far as the battle system go. 3 people, turn-based, and when you summon a summon, you get to control them. I love that. I know they put that on other Final Fantasies, but I love that. You can call out Ifrit or Ifrit. You get to control them. Call out Shiva or Sheva, whatever you're going to call it. You get the controller. I did like that. Now X2, I did not want it. No, not at all. I'm like, what? I got to go through the whole game playing out some hollows, some females. Like, oh man, get out of here. And damn, what makes me feel old again, when this came out, I working at Sam Goody. They're not even around no more, so that goes to show. And we had the strategy guide there. I was on break. I picked it up and looked through it, and I didn't know you can switch. What do they call it? Yeah, I know you can switch jobs. It says change jobs in the heat of the battle. I didn't know you can do that. So when I seen that dark armor they had, like in that samurai looking armor, I said, oh yeah, I might give it a shot. Oh no, I didn't buy this. This was a present for me. So hey, can't argue with a free game, right? And it's the continuation of it. So I did want to know what happened to Titus or Titus. I'm not gonna lie. Yeah, that jam of 1,000 words. That was a good cutscene. Yeah. Shut up. Yeah, I did like that. So for sentimental, nostalgic reasons, since this is my first Final Fantasy, this is my favorite. Is it the best? No, it is not the best. Some say it's not even in the top 5. Some will say it is, but this is my favorite. But let's see here. The other Final Fantasy I have, of course, the Final Fantasy X 13. Final Fantasy 13 too. I've had 13 Part 1. It pissed me off. I thought I was never gonna beat it. I did beat it, because I'll be damned. And then I ended up getting this one. And I do like it. It's not the best Final Fantasy, again, but I do like it because it corrects so many of the issues that Part 1 had. But yeah, I do love the Final Fantasy series. I have heard that Final Fantasy series has declined and went down as far as I guess quality or story or gameplay. To me, it's not so much the story, it's the amount of, it's the characters to me. Like 10 characters are cool. Titus, he cool, right? You know, Orin, you know, the guy with the glasses on with the red on, he was cool. Can't remember his name. The blue cat guy that was in your lion guy with the spear, he was cool. You know, Waka, the one gothic emo chick with the little doll, she was good for magic. She was cool. She was cool as a character. She was cool. She was good for that. Magic, the mono, all that, whatever you want to call it. But Final Fantasy 13, man, the black guy with the afro, the young kid with the boomerang, the chick with the pink hair, the whiny chick, you know. And then, like I said, no homo, not to sound sexist, they switched the main character to be a female, you know, on that 10-2 kind of stuff. I'm kind of like, man, Snow, he looked cool, but it's not also about looks, it's about character and character development. You know, Snow's personality was cool. Some say she was like a female Cloud knockoff or a female hero Yui, or, you know, a female Uclear, like the way she acts, rarely, hardly ever smiles. That's why when Part 2 came out, you know, I'm like, cool, I get to play as someone else. Play as this guy, forgot his name. Damn, just that quick, ain't that a bitch? But this one main character, him, I'd rather play as him as pretty much everybody else. If I could just have, I mean, it's other side characters and bosses that look sweeter than pretty much damn near the whole cast on 13. And 13 too is something like, because it's just two people, and then you get a monster in your crew. You can capture a monster. You get a monster in your party. So many people didn't like that. Of course, Part 1 was very linear, whatever you want to call it. This one, they fixed that issue. You know, I think Final Fantasy, it needs to get back on that kind of track where 7 and 8 and 10 was. Also Lost Odyssey. Lost Odyssey, that was a very good RPG. I have that RPG made by a Mistwalker. So they need to get back on that track, because the characters, to me, the monsters, the worlds, the music, it's still good to me. The story, I like that story. You know, Cocoon and everything, and the Foul Sea, I like that. But the characters, if they would just put in, you know, like for example, Final Fantasy Versus 13, that looks so much more interesting than Final Fantasy 13 and 13-2. It really does. And that main character seems like he's a whole lot better. A whole lot. So that's my thing on that. Let's see. But yeah, I think that pretty much covers it. I know this went on longer than what I expected, but I apologize for that. And I apologize for the wait. So iiFemLee, Kidswade, I hope you enjoyed this video. And for the one who sent me a request earlier, if you want to send it again. If I'm forgetting anyone else, let me know. But the next video request should be like my final one. Not like final, like I ain't gonna do no more, but that's not gonna be like the main arc or the main theme of my videos, because, you know, I was doing that as a good appreciation favor thing. You know, I was trying to do that before I moved. Now that I moved, I'm gonna get back on track to my original core default style of videos. But like I said, I will still do video requests, just I won't be taking them in as frequently, as much, and as fast as I have been doing recently. But yeah, thanks for watching this video. It's good to be back. This is the Elite Ace. I'm signing out.